I feel like when I popped on the scene, the love and the acceptance has been so fantastic here that I think you deserve to know some things first because you just loved on me so effectively. The fans here are so fantastic.
Ashley, it's lovely to see you finally. How are you?
Finally, I'm great.
So there's a couple of little things on my mind, but first things first, you're here for the Grand Ole Opry, major gig, and we're so excited about it with a huge lineup as well. So Opry 100 live in London. You're basically coming over and taking over London.
And I didn't even know this was an option. When I heard that the Grand Ole Opry was going to do a broadcast from London, I was like, you got to be kidding me. And I'm so excited that this is part of how we're celebrating the 100th year.
So we had well documented all the other acts as well on the bill, like Luke and so on.
Oh, yeah.
And Carly, your pal. So we know all that, but can you enlighten us a little bit what we can expect on the night, and especially for people who haven't either been to the Opry or even heard the show, back in the day. So what are we expecting?
Right. So the longest running radio station, and I think it's been off the air one time in 100 years.
Wow.
And for good reason. And even during what I like to call the Great Separation, we still never missed a broadcast. Even when there was only 10 people allowed in the building, they would still bring in 3 artists and enough staff to do the broadcast. So this is, in country music, let's say, like we all know how important winning a Grammy is, right? So being a member of the Grand Ole Opry is a little bit like that. And lots of us are invited to play at the Grand Ole Opry. That's a really huge stamp of approval. When the Grand Ole Opry says, we'd like you to play on our stage. It's a history steeped, it's all about honoring those that came before us. And so for us to be celebrating 100 years of the Grand Ole Opry, and I'm a member, which blows my mind, and I'm one of the performers that gets selected to come over here and do it in London. And I've never even been inside Royal Albert Hall. I've never even been to the parking lot. And so my very first time to experience it is with the most magical thing we do in country music in the most magical place I can imagine doing it.
So, I mean, talk about layering up all the good on top of each other.
It's impossible to focus on one aspect of it because it's so fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, clearly we follow the established country stars on the station, but also we keep a keen eye on the new acts as well.
Yes.
And when you follow their feeds online and they go, oh, this is my first performance at the Opry, and it's, just to emphasize, it's a major deal, isn't it?
It is a major deal. In fact, in the Grand Ole Opry backstage, the dressing room 4, when you play the Grand Ole Opry for the very first time, you make your debut, is the only time you will ever set foot inside dressing room 4. It's reserved only for people making their debut. Mm-hmm. It is decorated accordingly with quotes on the wall and things, and I won't spoil it just in case you make your debut. And for myself, even when other people are making their debut and I stop by room 4, I still don't cross the threshold and stand inside room 4. So there's lots of things there's so much reverence and respect, and it is a sacred establishment because we were taught that it was, and we make sure that it stays that way.
And well, it definitely comes across clear. And we're the other side of the Atlantic, but that still seeps through, that reverence, if you like. And now we're delighted because or whoever, you said you're part of the Opry, but
yes.
Somebody somewhere has decided, well, let's do it in London. Even better.
It's so cool that we get to do this.
It's fantastic. So we're super excited about this. I might come back to that in a little while, but there's loads of other stuff. I'm really relieved to hear your voice because I know clearly I can hear you speak, but from a singing point of view, I know you had a little bit of trouble just a little while ago.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, getting to this trip was the goal. When I hurt my throat, we knew something was going on. And like you would do, like an athlete would do, you tape it up and play on it, tape it up and play on it, and it'll be fine. And it got to, we were in Canada at a festival, and in the morning I sounded almost like I sound right now, just a little hoarse, more than that. And then at 2 p.m., no sound was coming out of my mouth, and my set was at like 6 p.m. So we did everything we had to do. You drink whatever, drink a milkshake, eat gummy bears. You do all of the tricks and all of the old wives' tales to stand on your head and hum a tune, all that stuff. And then I got home, went to the doctor, They put the scope, down your throat, and they looked at it and they said, "It's not good." And I said, "All I need you to do, I'll cancel whatever I have to cancel. Tell me what I have to do to get better, because I have to sing at the Grand Ole Opry in London. You have to get me good enough to do that." And I have to give it to them. I had to stop speaking entirely, but I'm pretty gifted with sign language, so it worked out okay. And here we are. I get to talk and I get to sing.
Well, that just shows you how much store you've put into this gig in London. And whatever else I can't do, I need to be there. Is essentially what you've said.
Yeah, this is the first time in anyone's lifetime that the Grand Ole Opry has done a broadcast from anywhere except Nashville, Tennessee. I cannot miess this.
No, absolutely.
There was no way I was letting that happen.
But isn't that a huge fear? And there's an element of this because we work in radio. So, I can appreciate, but even more so for you, if the voice goes, that's it. End of.
That's the whole moneymaker.
Yeah.
If I was a quarterback, it would be like if I had injured my shoulder. If I was a football player and it's like I broke my ankle.
Yeah.
This is the only thing that I have. This is it.
This is the one. I'm astounded as well by the amount of people who, in your game, have voice problems. I guess it's just the overusing of it. Which leads me on to something completely different, but you'll see a connection in a moment. Sobriety. I wanted to talk to you about this, right? So first of all, I know you celebrated, because we follow all the stuff that goes on here.
Of course.
Even though we're the other side. So you celebrated an anniversary of that fairly recently. But also there's the element, congratulations on it, but then you've taken it to another level because you opened up this redemption bar.
Yes.
So can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, Lower Broadway, the whole tourist area. When you come to Nashville, that's the place you have to see. So Redemption Bar is the first non-alcohol forward bar that you can even get to. And our stage in Redemption Bar is small. It only holds one person plus one more player. So it's really geared towards one person playing and singing more than it is geared toward hearing things that are on the radio played by a band, which we also are happy to have down on Broadway. But this is a different thing that you can experience. The whole menu, you can order anything on the menu. It is alcohol free. And can you get alcohol there? Absolutely. We carry all of the other things too. But what I was experiencing when I quit drinking was having to go and kind of beg for something without alcohol in it at the bar.
Yeah.
And I would say, "Do you have anything without alcohol? Do you have anything NA?" And, you're getting all kinds of splashback and people being like, "Why are you coming in a bar if you're not going to drink?"
Yeah.
Redemption's just kind of the opposite of that. You're welcome to drink as much actual alcohol as you like. You're just going to have to ask them, "Can I have the version that has alcohol in it?"
But so you've literally turned it on its head, haven't you?
Yeah, a lot of us lose our ability to make new friends and network because my whole life was inside a bar.
Yeah.
And then the places where I had spent over a decade, they didn't want me around anymore because I didn't drink. But the only thing I changed, it was what was making the ice float in my cup.
Yeah,
the only part I changed was the liquid.
Yeah. No, it's amazing. Is this in Chiefs, by the way?
It is. It's the 5th floor of Chiefs.
So your pal Eric Church.
Yes.
Now I wanted to talk about Eric briefly.
Yeah.
Two reasons. One is he was sitting here fairly recently, and he was playing 2 nights at the Royal Albert Hall.
Yes.
Now Eric, like you, has been around. You've done all the big things. And yet he was super excited about it. Yeah. And now it'll be your turn to play.
Absolutely. Royal Albert Hall is like Grand Ole Opry. It's like Red Rocks. It's one of those legendary rooms that if you've played that, you feel it's one of your made it moments.
And it is, and I'm, you'll find out yourself, but it's one of those places when you're there, even as a punter, as somebody watching. There's no Royal Albert Hall 2. I mean, it's just the one off, and then that's your lot. So it's going to be a hell of a night, isn't it?
Yeah, and when you're standing on a stage like that, you can sense and feel, and you should revere every other set of feet that has been on that stage before yours.
Yeah.
Knowing who has performed there. It's like when you play, there's a place, Surf Ballroom in the States, which is the last place where the Big Bopper and all that before that terrible crash. And it's this little club, but when you stand on that stage, that changes your performance mindset a little bit because I don't just have to sing my songs and do the thing that I'm doing. I need to do it in a way that honors every other set of performers that stood on this stage.
The other thing I wanted to talk to you briefly about with Eric was he kind of, am I right in thinking, kind of helped you along in the early days or gave you a bit of a spotlight?
Yes, and he gave me, first of all, songwriter stamp of approval. He and Catherine both ran across the song Bible in a 44. And Catherine ran across it first and played it for Eric. And that was sort of how he comes to know of me and who I am. And then at one point he invited me to a show in Chicago. I want to say this is 2017, might have been 2016. And I went. I'm in my Eric Church merch. I'm excited. And he invited me to come up and play. And we did Bible in a 44 there in Chicago that night. And it's not that he said, I'm gonna give you a tour bus and I'm gonna put you on my tours. Nothing like that. But he did say to his audience that night, you're gonna like this girl. And if you know anything about Eric's fans, they trust what that man says. And I knew right then that 19,000 people in that room, biggest room I've ever played to, bigger than the population of any town I've ever lived in combined, just decided they did like me before I ever sang a note. And that is one heck of a leg up.
Talk about a stamp of approval.
It's monumental.
Yeah.
And there have been other things throughout my career. There was a time very early where we did not have a tour manager. And there was a member of Eric's crew that could fill the slot on days that they weren't on Eric's tour. And he allowed for that to happen. Like things like that just were so helpful in times that we just didn't have another option. He's the kind of man that steps up and says, I can help and I will help.
Yeah. Well, we also observing from here, there's a brilliant vibe with country music. There seems to be I know that word family's used a bit too much, but you know what I mean.
Yes.
As opposed to some other types of music that maybe that doesn't exist, where there's a real, I will help you because I want to, not because I want something back.
Right. And I think we're all, most of the time, we do a pretty good job of being aware that if we are who we sing we are.
Yeah.
Then, like, if we're going to sing songs that are about, I'll give you the shirt off my back and I'll change your tire, then we had better be doing that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I mean, I wouldn't listen to us if
we
were just singing a bunch of lies.
And it'd just be all fake, wouldn't it? So,
right. I think we're a very loving genre.
When are you releasing that song that you just sung to us, that little snippet, by the way? I think that's a winner, that I'll have the shirt off your back.
Thank you. I'll give you writing credit on it.
Thank you very much. I'll be delighted. I might be throwing loads of different random stuff at you.
That's
but because,
okay. I'm for it.
Right. Well, because we've never met before, if I ever meet her, I'll have to. So here's another one. A doctorate, an honorary doctorate.
Can you imagine? Just
you in the gown and
with the cap and the thing and you wear this thing and I don't know how to put it on right. And the doctor behind me was like, can I help you put that on a little more correctly? And I was like, I don't know how this works. I studied music and music education at Arkansas State University, and I left to catch a dream, and I caught it. And I've always stayed an advocate for music education. I think that convincing someone else to pick up a guitar or a clarinet or take an audition to be in a choir, that is just as important as me singing a song on a stage. And me singing a song on a stage is sort of in hopes that we do inspire. What if somebody asks for a set of drums for Christmas because they saw us play? So music education still stays really, really in the front of my mind. And Arkansas State decided to recognize that this last year. And even though my path looked a little different to that recognition, I was so honored and so pleased that they decided to give me a doctorate.
And isn't it, it is an amazing story, but isn't it almost ironic that it went full circle? So you were doing the traditional studying music, and then you thought, maybe this isn't for me, and then you went your own way, and then you end back with them again.
Back with them again.
Yeah.
And I was a decent French horn player. I was doing good, and I'm very thankful that I know so much music theory and this, that, and the other. And I ultimately said, I love playing this music, but it's not what's in my bones. It's not what I'm made of. I'm a songwriter. I got to go do that. To which my professor said, go. And he literally said to me, it's my job to keep you on this campus. And I think you should go.
Wow.
I think you're a songwriter and you should go. And I did.
Yeah, and here we are.
And I did. And it's working out. And they honored me with a doctorate.
It's a brilliant story. And thank you, teacher, as well, for encouraging Ashley back in the day.
And thank you, music educators. And thank you, educators, period.
Yeah. Got to ask you as well, what's next? What's coming up? Is there anything, bubbling away in the background that you'd love to spill out right now for us?
Yeah, well, it's time for a new record. And it's when people say, well, when's your new record come out? Well, that's such a strange question, especially when my family's like, when's your new record coming out? I'm like, well, you have to record it. And then about a year after that, it can come out. So that's why it takes so long between records. But I've got mixes in my phone right now that I can listen to. I don't have all of them. So we've been cracking away at it. And I made a record a few years back called Lindyville. With producer John Osborne. It was his first time to produce. And I decided we should team up again. So I asked him, and Rattlesnake Preacher is out now. So now you can hear that friendship and that creative relationship moving forward. And there's a whole record of it to look forward to.
I was watching the music video for it just before you came in.
Oh, yes.
So yeah, absolutely. Well, that's exciting as well for the fans to know. So this, I'm not going to pin you down to a date or anything, but fairly soon-ish.
It's on its way. And
Brilliant.
And being back over here, I think the last time we did a tour here, we did it in the month of January. And I don't want to do that again because then it sets us up right that the next time we come is January. January to January is much longer than October to October or July to July. For some reason, it just seems like, and it just ages.
Maybe it's that winter thing, and
It must be.
yeah. Okay, well, we'll very much look forward to that.
I can tell you that you will know about it first on this side of the pond. I feel like when I popped on the scene, I popped in the U.S. and here at the same time, right? And I tour there the same year I tour here for the very first time. And the love and the acceptance has been so fantastic here that I think you deserve to know some things first because you just loved on me so effectively. The fans here are so fantastic. So I don't know how we're going to accomplish it, but I know that that's what I've asked.
Well, if you come back over to tell us that at the time in the UK, come back in here and then
Absolutely.
and then spill out everything in one.
I'll just come spill my guts.
Yeah, absolutely. That'd be brilliant. And I know as well because you're here for obviously for the huge Opry gig,
Yes.
but you're also, I suppose, coming a little early to play for the fans as well.
Right, and we do the fan club party normally around CMA Fest in the States, and it's been all over the comments section for as long as I've been doing this. Why aren't you doing one in the UK? Why aren't you doing one in the UK? And I've raised enough hell about it that the answer was it's just very hard to do. It's very hard to get over here if it's not part of already part of a tour.
Yeah.
So we decided just to solve the problem, and we'll do my first ever UK fan club party.
So again, something else to be excited about. I mean,
Yes.
there's a lot of firsts here, aren't there?
Yes.
Happening.
It's so wonderful. And if you've been to any of our live shows, you know there is a gigantic red bra that comes to the stage, whom we've named Bernice. That I wear during the song, Brenda, Put Your Bra On. And you would think that it wouldn't fit in a suitcase. Oh, it did.
So it's good to know it's
It
here.
1,000% fits in a suitcase.
Oh, that's amazing. That's brilliant. So away from radio studios and the stage, what would you describe as your perfect day?
I like to do things. I drink an abnormal amount of tea, which over here works perfectly.
You're in the right place.
I can get tea anytime, and it's wonderful. And maybe the term here might be pottering.
Just pottering about.
Yeah, we call it peepawing when I'm doing is that what your peepaw always did? He just go find something to do.
All right.
So I like to find a craft, or draw, or paint, or maybe, let's say the water hose is all unorganized in a part of the yard. Not only will I go and organize it, I'll find a system that works for that and a way to build it. And I get on Pinterest and I find out that you can make a house for your water hose. I'm a very hands-on Bob the Builder kind of gal, a handy ma'am, if you will.
So even on your day off, it's not really a day off. There's something to be done.
Yeah, I love to just find things to do or learn to do something new.
Do you just mentioned paintings there? Have you published any, or are they on display for us to look at online or not?
No, but an aunt of mine who lives up in Michigan, so the north part, and I'm down in Tennessee, we hardly ever see each other, but she always paints me a watercolor, and it's on the front of a card, and she sends it to me. So I decided to learn how to paint watercolors so I can send them to Aunt Gloria. So far, that's the extent of it.
Oh, well, that's a beautiful way for us to end this convo, but I'm already looking forward to the next one because you'll have more info for us.
Yes, I'll be able to divulge a little more.
All right. Well, listen, so looking forward to seeing you on that. Like you say, this is a big occasion.
And just know that my stomach is in my kneecaps during these performances. And as seasoned as we are as performers, there is a feeling when you play the Grand Ole Opry that is sort of like nerves. I think it's just maybe importance and reverence. And that's so if you're like, oh, she appears to be a bit nervous. No, it's just my stomach is in my kneecaps because this is important and the Opry deserves the absolute best I can give.
Yeah, well, we'll bear that in mind. Was that an attempt at an English accent just then?
Oh, yeah.
Can I have another one?
It happens from time to time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, whatever you want to say to me right now.
Well, I was at a park, and I don't know what park. I think it was out by Shepherd's Bush, maybe. And so I went to a park with a friend, and we were going to have a sandwich. And just chose whatever was across the street. So sat down, had a sandwich. Dana and I are sharing it. And a local walks up and says, do you know you've chosen the worst of all the green spaces anywhere to sit down and have a sandwich? Even the pigeons won't hang out here. And so I realised that geographically I'm just not very gifted at choosing locations.
That is absolutely brilliant. It really is. You physically changed in front of me. Because the voice, that it made you a different person. So, yeah.
Nobody would. I'm the youngest of 6 children, and I joke about it. Say nobody would play with me when I was a kid, so I had to learn to play guitar and to make characters up.
Well, listen, that has been absolutely perfect. I've really enjoyed having you over here.
The pleasure is all mine.
And I'm looking forward to seeing you on those stages.
I'm already nervous.